Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the International Security Training webinar on packaging and shipping security. Other people and companies will call this cargo security. So we're going to do a basic 101 level type of course. My name is Brian Allen, and I will be your instructor today. The objectives for today are going to be very simple. First, we want to study the source of threats and loss probability, kind of see where they're coming from. Then we're going to look at some precautions for packaging and shipping, and hopefully we can kind of mitigate some bad things from happening. And then we're going to look at how policies and procedures kind of come into play. So if you're ready to rock and roll, so am I. Let's get started. When you look at the source of threats or loss probability, there's two ways you can kind of look at this, and this is the general industry environment or your specific industry. Okay, so when you're looking at most industries, what I've seen over the past 20 some odd years is that loss tends to come in small quantities, and it's normally kind of kicked off by damaged containers, which creates a crime of opportunity in someone who maybe has a little bit of a bad guy gene in them, but they're not too proactive. But man, when they see damaged containers, their wheels start turning in their heads, and they're like, man, I think I can get away with this, and they take things. So pilferage is the largest security loss element there is. Now, when you look at your specific industry, you're going to want to conduct a loss analysis and look for trends, okay? So use security and non-security people when you are studying your environment. Well, it's great when I get ideas from non-security personnel. A lot of times it's because they've been in supervision and management in their industry for a long time, and they've had to deal with employees who have stolen before. Okay? A lot of times it was people who, when they were younger, they were shoplifters or things like that, and they're very honest about it. They're like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to steal shit from stores all the time. Pardon my French there, pardon my language, but this type of open dialogue can really help a security management team. All right. Now, precautions for packaging or packing and shipping. First of all, choose high quality packaging. I know that a lot of companies are looking to save money, but man, you need something that can protect your product from rough handling, from above average stressful conditions, okay? And such as when you have a rule and labeling on pallets that says do not stack more than 2 high. Your packaging needs to be able to handle a situation where somebody did not read it and they've actually stacked things 3 and 4 high. That's what we're talking about when we mean above average stress. Then we're looking at accidents, whether it's a vehicular accident or it's an accident on the dock, or maybe it's just an employee dropping a single product item. Okay, packaging should be of high quality. Now, it should also be so difficult to open that a bad guy has to break the packaging in order to open it. So what would be a good example of that? I'm sure we've all gone through this. You buy a new CD or DVD or some sort of an electronic gadget and you're trying to rip it out of those plastic things that are heat sealed together. You have to go get 2 different types of scissors and you're ripping, and heck, some people even cut their own hands opening these things up. This is what I'm talking about. That is good high quality packaging specifically for the individual item. Now, when you're talking about the pallets and the crates and things like that, let's say you have a wooden pallet or container. Okay, now a lot of times these things are going to be nailed together, so obviously make sure all the nails are in place. You want to use a metal strapping around the middle of that thing to make sure that everything is held together. If you're dealing with cardboard boxes, corrugated cardboard, you want to use 3-inch paper tape to reinforce. So you can look online and figure out the best way to do that for your situation. And at the end of the day, always remember there are regulatory requirements for a lot of different industries, okay? For jewelry, for precious metals, for controlled substances, for different chemicals. Find out what regulations are required either in the Federal Code of Regulations for the United States, or you might have Department of Transportation regulations which are separate from the FCRs. So you have to look in both transportation, federal codes, specific to your location, your country, and really do some homework to make sure that you're doing the right thing and just to get ideas about how to secure the products. Okay? When we look at policies and procedures, one of the basic ones that really is effective is having a 2-man rule when handling sensitive items or valuable products and merchandise. Okay, a lot of people may steal when finances are tough and life is kicking them in the rear end. But when they have to be working side by side with one of their partners or employees, it reduces their um, want or their desire to act because they don't know how the other person is going to respond to that. Now, what if you're worried about two department members working in collusion? Well, then you could say that, all right, the two-man rule is going to be one person from the department and one person from security. So that means they have to get on the radio or the phone and call security before they ever open a cage, before they remove product, or before they put product in a certain area. Okay. Overlapping the two-man rule, it's always great to have closed circuit TV, right? Where are you going to put this? In your dock areas, inside the main dock doors, outside the main dock doors, at the perimeters, which are fences, towers, things like that, at the gates. Okay, when a big truck comes in, let's say it's a load coming in of a high value product. Okay, you zoom in on the back of the truck. You try to get a try shot. Get the driver of the truck, get the vehicle itself, and then get the seal. Is what we would try to zoom in on. All right. Speaking of seals, we want you to remember that seals are used for tracking, auditing purposes, and they're a result of the SOPs or regulatory requirements. Remember that a seal is kind of like a flex cuff. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's like in between a flex cuff and a padlock, okay? And they have a number imprinted on them. So we want to make sure that we keep an eye on the seals, the two-man rule when one comes on and when one comes off, okay? Seal security, where are the seals kept inside the building in the shipping and receiving area? Make sure that those areas are locked up. Make sure you have a two-man rule there, or if you only have one person on duty, that they call up, they say that we're going to open up the seal container or the seal room, and the camera has to be watching them enter and leave the area. Okay. Audits should be done. Okay. When are you going to do your audits? In most cases, for sensitive items, they do monthly audits of the paperwork. In addition to the monthly audits, every time something happens, like an incident, that is going to drive the management team to have to do an audit. So that should cover that. In conclusion, just remember that packaging cost is a concern, and I get it. Especially when you're looking at high quality purchases. If you can save 50 cents or $1 on a box, and you're pumping out a couple million containers a month, that's going to be big money savings, I know. But the quality has to be there to meet your insurance recommendations, to meet your regulatory requirements, and things of that nature. Okay. Committees should always consist of security and non-security personnel. And the non-security personnel obviously must be of a trustworthy nature, probably going to be your managers and supervisors. They are a great value and they have great input. All right. Hey, don't reinvent the wheel. Okay. Go to seminars, whether they're in your industry or other industries, as long as they're packaging related. Look at DOT seminars, which are the Department of Transportation seminars. Okay, look for items, ideas, and recommendations from your insurance companies. Remember, an insurance company, they happily take our premiums, but they never want to make a claim. And the only way they can really help guarantee that they don't have to make claims is for them to do all of this research for us and then tell us what to do. Now, a lot of times their recommendations are going to exceed the minimum standards set by your regulatory bodies, but if you can get your company to buy off and sign on the dotted line and make the right purchases, hey, that's just good for you guys. So I hope you guys have picked up an idea or two, or maybe just cemented and reinforced some things you already knew about packaging, shipping, and cargo security. Until next time, my name is Brian Allen with International Security Training. Stay safe.